This is a Gem Mind Publishing production. Viewer discretion is advised.
The Council unlocked the minds of a tiny group of individuals composed of the sons and daughters of the elite, and a few exceptionally gifted people scattered across different worlds. These were the Divinators. Though they loosened the binds on their minds, the Council did not fully remove it. They kept portions of the bind intact, making it impossible for the Divinators to steal others' life force. All the life force that they would need whilst carrying out their duties would be supplied to them by the 12 Apostles. The Council built classified factories scattered around the galaxy where, in secret, they produced an artificial life force to supply their Divinators. This power source would be stored and carried around in an ornate lantern-like vessel girded to a Divinator's hip. Even with their celebrated Divinators, the Council did not fully trust in their ability to defeat Gog. As for Gog, he was forming a team of his own. They went by the moniker Idol. Idol was a very simple organization, built upon a very simple principle. The strong should rule over the weak. Gog invited anyone who rose to the top of power hierarchies to test themselves by taking over their planet through any means and subjugating the populace. This was the first and only requirement to become a member of Idol. Each member had the backing of Gog and the rest of this elite group. It was one for all and all for one. The Galactic Alliance deemed the now three-member group a terrorist organization. Each member represented a clear and present S-class threat to the Alliance and civilization in general. The war had already begun, and Idol had the first win. They had already conquered 2 worlds within the Galactic Alliance, and no one had any idea how, far less the ability to confront them. Defeating them was even further out of reach. Over the years, some of the Divinators defected to their side in an effort to gain more power. This caused the Council to desperately search under every rock for solutions. They pushed all the funding they could into weapons research and manufacturing, preparing for what they thought was an inevitable face-off between them and Idol. As if Idol was not enough of a problem for the Council, the democracy they had started was beginning to crumble under their feet. Year after year, they observed the democratic process devolving. Each new politician brought before them was worse than the next, all becoming greedier, more corrupt, and more duplicitous with every passing generation. These politicians became pawns and patsies manipulated by powerful business interests, and at this point were nothing more than lackeys for the corporations. It was so blatant that now, even the most uninformed citizen could sense it. Once again, the Council faced the issue of human rulership. At the same time, the Apostles had a third equally pressing matter to deal with. A deterioration had begun within themselves. The Apostles could feel the life force within their bodies slowly ebbing away. Gray hair and crow's feet began marking their vessels once more. One day they would die, and what would become of humanity and all that they had built? They had Idol at their doorstep, traitors and crooks in their coffers, and worst of all, their own bodies were betraying them. There was only death in their future. Whether or not they wanted to admit it, the Council began longing for the rulership of the beings. They wished in their hearts that the beings would return to rescue them from the tyranny of self-governance. In those dark days, another visionary thinker emerged. Hailing from one of the outer worlds was a business mogul, Sam Allardyce. With the help of his son, Spencer, they built upon the research of Dr. Lisa Yauchin, who created the galaxy's first brain bank in the year 4000. That first unit, however, was merely a proof of concept for Mr. Allardyce. He had much greater ambitions for which he needed the Council's funding to achieve. Leaning into the Council's desperation, Sam presented a vision, a hope for dealing with the threat of Gog and Idol. He proposed that by funding and building his brain bank, they could find the answers to all their problems. The Brain Bank, year 4500. The Brain Bank was a massive computer made by networking many human minds. Once a person was installed into the Brain Bank, they acted like one of the cores of a CPU. These hundreds of linked minds could work to solve the same problem with unwavering focus. This computer could also be used to expand users' minds by giving one person access to many times their own brain power. With this tool, the promise of a golden age of technological advancement seemed to be at mankind's fingertips. When the Council caught wind of this, they saw an opportunity to solve their rulership problem. Hence, they contracted Sam Allardyce to build them a brain bank. As the first brain bank was built using a mere 200 minds of subpar quality, belonging to criminals and miscreants with life sentences in prison, Sam knew that with the right backing, he could do so much more. He theorized they could build a brain bank on a planetary scale with a star at its core, serving as a fuel source. It would house trillions of minds, catapulting mankind beyond anything they dreamed possible. When asked where and how he would acquire that many minds, Sam surprised the council by saying volunteers. His explanation was that no unwilling parties should be part of the hive mind due to unforeseen occurrences with the first bank. According to Sam, minds that were resistant had a way of corrupting the system. Of course, the council pressed him on why he thought anyone would willingly volunteer. His response started with one word: escape. For people aching for a way to escape the harshness of reality, the brain bank was a godsend. Once installed into the unit, an individual would have access to the virtual plane, a gigantic virtual network where their mind could live out any fantasy they desired. Just as with Coffin Galahad, the council gave Sam Allardyce the funding and authority he needed to get the project done. Thus, the first brain bank, Bion 1, came online a mere 500 years later. It was located in the Riel quadrant of the Antiquid sector in the Binos system, aptly named since this supercomputer was the center of the system. Bion 1 was built around the brown dwarf that had once claimed that system. But the myriad of discoveries and hopeful promises the bank had inspired soon became nightmares as economic forces stepped in. The brain bank required vast amounts of energy and resources to operate. This meant that only the extremely wealthy could make use of this incredible resource. As with all things, the wealthy needed to make a profit on their investment. All the medical discoveries, scientific breakthroughs, cybernetic human augmentation, and life-changing insights went to the people occupying the top strata. This led to lifespans vastly increasing, but only for the rich. Once more, this bumped up the lifespans of many. On some worlds, men lived to the theoretical maximum age of 1,000 years, while on other worlds, some still died of old age between 65 and 80. The knowledge gained via the brain bank also tipped income inequality to absurd proportions. Some individuals acquired enough wealth to purchase entire solar systems, orchestrating custom terraforming projects that turned planets into lavish private domains. Meanwhile, on forsaken worlds devoid of access to this intellectual wellspring, entire populations languished underground in expansive tunnel networks, trapped in a bleak reality where surface living became an unattainable luxury. Even in the matter of intellect itself, the extremes began piling up. Some enhanced humans were now able to run advanced calculus and real analysis in their minds within mere seconds. Yet, there existed those who grappled with a cognitive struggle, reminiscent of an infantile state. While these unforeseen outcomes gave the council pause, their ultimate goal had been realized. They had finally created a new form of rulership that could not fail: true artificial intelligence. They bestowed upon this AI the name GAIA.
This has been a GemMind publishing production. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. If you'd like to go the extra mile in supporting our work, consider checking out our books available on our website or on Amazon. Your purchase directly contributes to the creation of more content. Thank you for being a part of the GemMind publishing community. We can't wait to bring you more captivating content in the future.